You are tuned into another episode of the Locker Room Podcast alongside Jack Sullivan. I'm Sam Pierce. Jack, it was a wild card weekend. I thought the games I thought would be blowouts weren't blowouts, and the game I thought was going to be good was not good. It kind of threw me for a loop, but nonetheless, I think it was an excellent weekend in the NFL, and we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, man, I think you're on the money with how this wild card weekend turned out. Not as everyone thought. Teams that thought were going to be underdogs really came up on top big time. Some freaky comebacks, some freaky play. We'll go over some kicking later, and I'm not talking soccer. I'm talking, just absolute craziness on the Cowboys side there. But, if we're going to start anywhere, I feel like we've got to start on Brock Purdy and the 49ers. He has really been poised in his position for being a rookie. You don't see that very often. And I think the way he's brought this team together and adapted to this West Coast offense, Kyle Shanahan type run team, he's really adapted well. The defense came out as usual. They did their part. Christian McCaffrey, Debo, all played crucial parts in that win. That's a scary team.
It's a very scary team. And just a couple of takeaways from there. I thought the defense was great, but I think the best part of it was that they adjusted in the second half. They gave up some cheap points, some cheap touchdowns to Debo on Chardavius Ward, and then they kind of adjusted in the second half. That's what DeMeco Ryans does. It's in his DNA. He's going to make adjustments. He's going to figure out, and then that's when they attack. Brock Purdy, he's not just a traditional rookie, and I heard this being talked about, he spent 4 years in college. So when you spend 4 years in college, he's played a fair amount of football. So no, he hasn't played that much NFL football, but he is rather experienced. And I think it's showing. I think he's showing that, if you're not a top end guy, maybe you should stay a little bit longer and just learn a little bit more so that if you do get thrust into the role as a backup, you can be ready to go. I love Kyle Shanahan's offense because he thinks players, not plays. And that's just obvious. He thinks, okay, how am I going to get Christian the ball? How am I going to get Debo the ball? How am I going to get Kittle the ball? And that's the makings of a great coach. See, a bad coach is just going to call plays and expects his players to fit in it. No, he thinks players and scripts his plays around that. And I think that's why the 49ers offense is so potent, because he knows his O-line. He knows one of the best players in the league is at his left tackle. So he's going to use all those things to his advantage. But Brock Purdy, he's just sensational. He's very poised, but he's not scared. The only thing that worries me about the 49ers is he is due for a stinker because he hasn't had one yet. Every young quarterback is due for one. I hope it doesn't come in the next couple games because they could find themselves in the Super Bowl, but he is due for one.
Now, a crazy question, and this is something that obviously everyone's talking about, or at least on their mind. He brings them to a Super Bowl. He wins, right?
Yeah.
Or, at least gets him to a Super Bowl. What do you do with Trey Lance? Do we keep him there?
It's a QB battle next year. And I say that because in this system, it's just not that hard to have success. You spend too much capital. You have to at least give Trey Lance an opportunity to win the job. You got a good problem. You're not playing Brock Purdy anything, and you're paying Trey Lance first round money. You let him go into camp, may the best man win. And that's just it. Trey Lance will be ready by camp, and you just let him compete and let them decide who the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, and that's an offense that anybody could fit in. Maybe somebody that we'll mention later that maybe going to a different team could fit into that offense. But we'll get into that a little bit. We'll get into that a little later.
100%. Jaguars, Chargers. Okay.
There's a lot to unpack here.
There's a ton to unpack here. First of all, I said this a while ago. I love the fit between Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence. Doug Peterson's a big QB guy. He's a great offensive mind. I know the Eagles are doing well. Nick Sirianni is a great coach, but he should have never been fired from the Eagles just because he knew Carson Wentz didn't have it no more before everybody else did. Shocker. He's a Super Bowl winning coaches aren't just around. They just aren't available. And the fact that he was great for the Jaguars. And he has these guys believing. He's got Trevor believing to come back from 4 interceptions in the first quarter and be down 27-0 and still have the ear of your guys, still have their trust, still have their belief, and to just keep on firing, make slight adjustments, and they never wavered and they didn't blink. I love it. I love Dougie P. Him and Dayball are neck and neck for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I because there's no AFC, NFC decipher there, you have
Yeah.
to give it to Peterson. They went from being the first team to ever be have the worst record to win a playoff game the next
Back to
year.
back.
No one's ever done that.
And they did back to back. Number one picks back to back years. Now they're in the playoffs in the second round. Wow.
It just gives you that perspective that, wow, it's amazing what a coach can do for your team. And that's the same for the Giants.
100%.
You can say that about any team. A lot of teams have turned around because of their head coaching decisions. And it also goes the other way. Because of their head coach, the team did not succeed as well. My thing with this game is the Chargers really disappointed me here. And I think going forward, they are disappointing a lot of people that Staley is still, they're going to be their head coach.
Yes.
They're moving forward with Staley. I don't think that is a great plan by them. Yet their defense is good and he's a defensive minded guy.
Mhm.
But that was how do you not put up more than 3 points and a half after you just ran them up 27-7 in the first half? Brandon Staley, I don't know if that's on him. I don't know if it's on the players thinking they could just lay back and not play well. In the defense, Asante Samuel having the 3 interceptions and a half, which is the most ever in a playoff game by any NFL player. Like, that was special to watch. You're thinking, oh, wow, this is going to be a real good Chargers story, but it turned into the Trevor Lawrence show. 2 things to end on this. Joey Bosa cost his team a playoff game, and I'll tell you why. I should say this. The way he reacted to the refs and his meltdown on the sideline gave them that opportunity to go for 2. It was on the fence that they were going to go for 2 at that time, and when it should have been a holding penalty. Do not get me wrong. That absolutely should have been a holding penalty there. It was the way he reacted, got the Jags the 1 yard line on a 2-point conversion. They converted easily. And I'm just like, I'm not sold on the fact that, he is fully healthy. And I don't mean just physically, I mean mentally. He was off the field for the whole season. He comes into a big playoff game and there's going to be frustration there. So I feel bad for the Chargers, but at the same time, they kind of deserved it. And then, to cap it all off, Lombardi fired today. It just had to. There's no way you put up 3 points in the second half of a playoff game and you don't get fired.
I mean, a couple of things. I don't agree with your Joey Bosa point. I thought he played phenomenally, and that wasn't just a one-play thing. He was being held all game. That's just the God honest truth. He was being held all game, and sometimes frustrations boil in one play. Never cost you a football game. You don't get up 27-3 and one play costs you a game. So I can't agree on that too. Staley's escaping blame. I think that's bull because it's his decisions that got them there. Probably would have won the game if Mike Williams is out there. Who decided to play Mike Williams in the last game of the season in a meaningless game? Brandon Staley. That was him. No, he's not an offensive coordinator or offensive mind, but you know what he can do in the offensive coordinator's ear? Hey, let's start running the ball here. Let's start mixing some runs here. He's the CEO. As a CEO, you don't escape blame. You don't get to have a scapegoat, and they're going to give him a scapegoat, clearly, because they're firing Lombardi and not him. He should be gone. He's not going to be gone. The Chargers team is still – the outlook is still fantastic. J.C. Jackson was not there as well. He's been out since earlier this year. They will have him back. So they should be okay, but I still don't trust Brandon Staley's decision-making. I think he just still makes flawed decisions. And there's no way you have any business losing that game. But Jack, let's get to your favorite game, of course, Giants-Vikings. And we picked this. We talked about this. I picked you guys. I knew the Vikings were frauds. I don't care if you're 13-4, whatever they are. You can't be that bad in point differential and that bad on defense and have my belief. I knew they had better talent. I knew you had the better team. There's a difference. And y'all had the better coach, even though Kevin O'Connell is a pretty good coach. But I was not surprised. I was surprised at how fantastic Daniel Jones was.
Oh my God. I've never seen anything like that out of him before. He flipped a switch.
The Vikings defense is trash though. 31st in pass. I got to say that they are a trash defense, but it was impressive.
Yeah, I'm impressed by the fact of the play calling. I'm impressed by how Daniel Jones played, and I loved how the team just stuck together. Just an example. This was late in the game. Darius Slayton missed that a third down slant, hit him right in the chest, and he
Wide
was
open.
devastated. He wide open. But the team came with him. It was like they had his back. And that's the kind of team that the Giants have needed this whole time. It's always been coaches versus the players arguing with each other because there was not a leader there. And that's what Dable brings, is this sense of leadership. And the defense playing healthy for the first time all season. You had McKinney. You had an entire defense that was healthy. The pieces that you can bring in, everybody was doing their job. Adoree Jackson coming off injury. Like I said, McKinney coming off that injury. Their whole front line was, I said this last show, they're healthy and they were good. Kayvon Thibodeau was there disrupting plays. And that's a team that will scare any other team in the playoffs. Defensively. Offensively, it's going to be like, you're right, contain Daniel Jones, and Saquon's in the backfield with him. Hodges has been great, stepping up, coming from the Bills and making his way up now. He stepped up huge. Did you see how swollen his ankle was pregame? I don't know if you saw that tweet, but he was like, don't get on me if I'm too slow. And the guy gets a touchdown pass. This team is tough.
They're a bunch of dogs. They're a bunch of dogs, and they're taking it after their coach, for sure. Daboll was masterful. He was scripting plays. He realized they weren't accounting for Daniel Jones' legs in the previous matchup. So you can tell that he told him, hey, 1-2, take off. And then also those design quarterback runs. A lot of what he used to do with Josh Allen, those QB sweeps, QB powers, very similar. Because Daniel Jones is more athletic than people give him credit for. I mean, he ran a 4.7. He's faster than that. That's just straight line speed. Game speed is a little bit different. And again, you guys really got healthy at the right time. Dexter Lawrence is a monster. He is a flat-out monster inside and will be for years to come. There was a play Kayvon Thibodeau made that is teach tape for a defensive lineman. It was a screen play. He had a stunt. He recognized the screen, which you are taught all the way back in college and high school. If it's a screen, you retrace. Wherever you just were, you retrace and go find the ball. He has the speed enough to go find the ball and go make the tackle on Hockenson, which may, for only a 2-yard gain, which may not seem like a huge play. But, Jack, there was nothing in front of Hockenson, and he had 2 blockers. That's the type of stuff that wins games. And that's the type of stuff you guys are doing. I don't think you guys will beat the Eagles. I don't. I think that game is going to be very close. Very close. I have more faith in the Eagles defense than the Vikings defense. I don't think you guys can put up that many points against them. But that game is going to come down to this. And I'm not saying you guys can't win. I'm not completely sold you will.
I'm not sold either, and I'm saying that as a genuine Giants fan.
Yeah.
And that's just, the Eagles have been fantastic this year.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is coming back. He had some rest. I have no doubt that the game is going to be close. I don't know about the outcome. I'm not going to predict the outcome because I'll be sad either way. Because if the Giants win, you're like, oh my God, what is going on? There's no way we can keep this going. And then you're like, all right, it's the same thing. Eli Manning brought us to the Super Bowl. How about Daniel Jones? We had a good defense then. You have a good defense now? Could be the same thing. Because if that happens, I'm going to get way too excited. Not saying I'm not rooting for my team, but it's in that same scenario where like, all right, I'm really going to get disappointed here, aren't I? Because if they lose to the Eagles, I'm not disappointed. We got to this point. But if we go on and we keep going, we're like, damn.
Y'all are a year ahead of schedule anyway.
Yes.
Like, so I think that's great. But Jack, the other matchup. So, I mean, Ravens-Bengals came down to the wire. And I was surprised. I truly was surprised at that. I thought the Bengals would handle business, but then you forget that the Ravens defense is phenomenal. They were flat out phenomenal. And I think the Bengals O-line injuries and issues are really going to hurt them. Just because you weren't that great to begin with. You can't afford Alex Kappa's day-to-day. The other one got hurt. Like, they're really beat up right now. And this is a bad time to be hurt up front. But I think we saw championship spirit from the Ravens. I think if Lamar is in that game, they win it by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to be very honest. I truly do. Huntley made some great plays, but to try to dive over the top as a 6-foot quarterback at the 2-yard line is stupid. Not at the 1. If you're at the 1, you can do that. Not at the 2. He was way too far to even attempt something like that. And that cost him the game. It lost him the game. They still had a chance after that, but it cost him the game. You have points and you give up a 98-yard score.
Yeah, that was game.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking that's game.
Oh yeah.
You can't come back from that.
No.
A 98-yard return to win the
It's a
game. You
gut
can't.
punch. It's a gut
It's
punch.
and Burrow being the first Bengals quarterback to have a touchdown, a rushing touchdown. He's it should have been it should have been a touchdown there to Hurts, but it is what
Yeah.
it is. Joe Burrow is just keeps proving himself more and more each week. He's not an underdog.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have to be an underdog. He's just gonna go play football. You know, and with the team he's got, it's pretty much the same team that he had last year.
Yep.
And they were scary then, they're scary now. The
Absolutely.
Ravens, like you said, put up that fight. It gave me a little scare until that point. The decision making by Huntley was okay. It was okay. He was doing
Okay.
things to get it done. It was okay.
Yeah.
But right when once that happened with the line, like you said, it was just way too far. He's not like the Space Jam Michael Jordan reaching his arm out trying to get it
He
across.
saw Trevor Lawrence do it on the 2-point conversion, but Trevor was at the 1, and he's 6'6". You know,
it was a huge difference.
It's a big difference in that. But
yeah,
what I would say with the whole I didn't like Lamar not being there. I like that he finally said something to let people know, hey, like he's never close to playing, and I had a feeling. His knee, it's a grade 2 sprain, borderline grade 3. Jack, that is bad. That hurts. You almost rather break it just because of how it feels. You almost rather break it. Yeah. Those grade 2 or 3 sprains. And even Marlon Humphrey said after the game, he said, I don't know if I should say this, but like, I knew he wasn't more than like 50, 60% max. He's still limping around the facility. We knew, they knew there was probably no shot at him playing. You know, Harbaugh didn't want to give it away. But man, like, all I'm going to say is the Ravens better try to get that deal done before Joe gets his done. Joe's deal is going to drive the price even higher. Higher. You think Deshaun got $230 guaranteed. Joe going for at least $240. $240. He gets it back to another bowl, $240. Even another conference championship. Blank check. So I think that situation is sloppy. I hope he goes to my Jets. You know how I feel. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But Jack, Bills, Dolphins. This was the most surprising to me. Mm-hmm. Very worried about Buffalo. I saw chinks. Josh Allen, as phenomenal as he is, he can't do those things in the playoffs. That's how you lose. You get beat like that. If he plays the Bengals like that next week, if he plays the Chiefs like that, they're going home. You can't turn the ball over 3 times. I think if Tua turned the ball over is in that game, the Dolphins win, which is crazy. If both the Ravens and Dolphins had their starting quarterbacks, I think they win in upsets, which is shocking to say. But the Bills did get it done. Skylar Thompson is not good, but it was a valiant effort by him. Just very shocking at how close this game was.
Oh my God, I just looked up his stats. 18 for 45, and that was Skylar Thompson. And that's nasty. That's 18 for 25, 45.
Can't
How are you throwing the ball 45 times?
And there was a few times I remember he's rolling out the pocket and Tyreek is wide open on one of those scramble coming across the deep. He's wide open. He looks at him and he still doesn't throw it because he doesn't have it. You know, he doesn't have that, you know, that connection with Tyreek or that confidence in his arm. And little things, they could have won that game, man. If they could get lined up on 4th and 1, I don't know what that was. They were talking about, some people thought it was a first down. What? What are we saying? Who's coaching these guys? What do you mean you thought it was a 4? What do you mean? That makes no sense. Like that's bogus.
They're worried about dumb crap like out there. You know, McDaniel, as funny as he was all season, the press conferences and everything, they're worried about the wrong stuff when it comes to that. Worry about what down it is first before you call a play. Isn't that? I've never coached football. I played spring football, but at least the one thing I know is you want to know what down it is. You want to know where you are in the field.
It's kind of important, Jack.
Yeah, I would say so. What is going on in Miami? Because that was it too cold in Buffalo? Was it getting to their heads? I don't know what that was. That was I'm glad, it was fun to watch. I was watching it at a restaurant, and when you're on when you're on a date with your girl and and there's TVs around, and like sometimes your girlfriend doesn't sit you near the TVs because she doesn't want you like steering away from them. That's what it
Yeah.
was, because we were out, and the TV was maybe like 20 yards away, and I just go like
Mm.
this, and it was like, how the heck did he just scoop and score that?
Yeah,
And
I was
she's
like,
like, what do you,
how is this game close right
I
now?
was like, how is it close? And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh yeah, the game's on. I gotta watch it. It's wild card weekend.
Wild card
That
weekend, man.
you gotta understand, it's wild card weekend. So when I saw that, I was like, what? My rigatoni
Yeah,
vodka is getting cold. I was like, what?
yeah.
Man.
I couldn't
So
believe that. But we
yeah,
will pick next week's games in a little bit. But first, Jack, we got to get to our favorite segment of the day. Hit it.
Hey, yo, what the?
All right. All right. All right. Jack, I'll let you go first.
yeah. And the one game we didn't talk about was the Cowboys Buccaneers game. Cowboys blew out the Buccaneers, but the AO, you know what I mean? A 3-letter acronym. Brett Meyer, what are you doing, bro? My heart, you got to make your kicks. You are getting paid to kick the extra points. You miss one, fine. Miss two, it happens. 3, 4, come on.
I know when somebody's got the under when I see it. It's bullshit. It's just Brett Maurer is full of it. Somebody check his iPhone. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I saw. We purposely saved this game for AO because that's what this game was. The game in itself is my AO, Jack. I was somebody who really thought Tampa could win. And that was just because of Tom Brady and the Cowboys going to Cowboys. But I did say, if the Cowboys come out hot, if they come out and leave no doubt in the beginning, it's over. Because Tampa Bay has not been a good football team all year. But if you leave them in the game, which they've shown, Tom will beat you in the end. He'll fight. He'll get you in the fourth. Cowboys left no doubt. And that whole everything we talked about with Brady and with everything, that's my AL. Because I just thought I expected more from them. I thought he looked scared in the pocket at a lot of times. And I know that Cowboys rush is hellacious, but that pick he threw, that's just him being scared. He was trying to throw it out the back of the end zone. He's scared he's going to get hit, and he short arms it. That's a sign of a battered old man. Do I think he's done? No, because I think he's going to be in Vegas. I think for sure he's going to Vegas. His old OC is the head coach. Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, leading rusher in the NFL last year, and Josh Jacobs. I think that's where he was going to go, remember, till Gruden nixed it way back when. He was never supposed to be in Tampa. He was supposed to be in Vegas. Dana White and Gronk spilled that he was looking for houses. It was a done deal. I think that's where he's going. That's why they moved on from Derek Carr. But wow, I expected more from the Bucs. The Buccaneers are my AL with and the biggest part of that is Leonard Fournette. You can't wear a playoff Lenny hoodie and then be nowhere to be found. Come on.
Not even get the first snaps. He didn't even start.
Come on, man.
He didn't even start.
They were awful. Awful. Defense, awful. They were awful in every way.
Oh, I thought in the beginning, I was like, oh man, they're starting early. And then they started getting on a run. I was like, they just let Pollard go back to back for at least 5 yards. That's not good. And Dak Prescott looks comfortable. When Dak Prescott looks comfortable, that's not good.
The best performance I've ever seen Dak had.
Oh yeah, Dak was incredible.
Incredible.
Dak ran it in himself. He looks comfortable. He's fine. That's not good for another.
No, and not at all. And you want to know something I saw, and I think Dan Orlovsky pointed out actually on Twitter about the Cowboys getting to the line fast, and he said it's probably because Kellen Moore figured out the Buccaneers' hand signals. So you get to the line fast, you make them have to line up fast, and then he was adjusting the play based off that. They weren't huddling too much. I think that was a key adjustment they made. The Cowboys were ready. They were well coached, well prepared. I have to give them their kudos. I don't like the Cowboys, but I have to give them their kudos. They were ready to lay some ass whooping from start to finish and leave no doubt. And I love it.
You gotta love it because that's football, man. Like if you're gonna sit around and think you're gonna depend on your 45-year-old quarterback because he's it's all behind him. If you think he's gonna hype you up this entire time, that's not gonna happen. You have to be a team effort, and that's what the Cowboys have been doing. It's a team effort. Do I like a lot of the guys? Not necessarily.
Nope.
I don't have to. I don't have to.
No.
But the fact that they came together in a mediocre head coach who's kind of
Yes.
made a good case last night that he's doing all right. He doesn't care what you think
Oh, he's
because
safe now.
Yeah, he's fine now.
Mhm.
Finally get a playoff win. That's great. My thing is that you have to give Pollard the ball more than Elliott.
Yes.
That's one takeaway. Two,
the gap is growing between them.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, he went from having the first 2 passes of the game to not really having that many touches later. He's still incredible. He did have that touchdown, but he still needs the ball more. He's that good. And Dak needs to look that comfortable every game. If you can keep him comfortable that game, you don't have to put a kicker in. You just go for 2 every time. Screw it.
Yeah, and you have to. Jerry and them said they weren't going to try out kickers because Brett he's had a great year. Just when you miss one, sometimes you get the yips. It's all mental football. People don't understand that. You can get in your own way. But a couple of things I just wanted to say. That Cowboys offensive line was phenomenal last night. And they made some subtle tweaks. Putting Jason Peters at left tackle, very true veteran, one of the best tackles in his generation. Him and Lane Johnson were. And they moved the rookie Tyler Smith, who was pretty good at tackle. They moved him to guard. And that's given them a little bit more versatility up front. And they got Tyrone Smith, who came back from injury at right tackle, because he's not what he used to be, but he is one of the best tackles of his generation as well. And he's still phenomenal. And Dak was clean all night, besides Vita Vea getting through, early on. I mean, he had a clean pocket to make his reads. And if they can do that for Dak, they're very hard to stop because Dak is the oldest quarterback left in the playoffs, Jack. He is experienced. This is how he should be. He was decisive. He was assertive, and he was aggressive. Those are things you have to be. He looked like a franchise quarterback in a big moment for the first time. I don't think he's ever looked that good in a big moment. He's looked that good before, but never in a moment like this. And kudos to you, Dak, for finally earning your money. But Jack, I think it's time for us to start looking forward. Let's talk about these matchups for next week, Jack, because they're intriguing. They're very, you got to do that. They're intriguing. They are very intriguing. So let's run through these and let's see how we're feeling. Jaguars, Chiefs, what you got, Jack?
Yeah, and to start off with that one's kind of tough. Chiefs, but close.
Same. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be closer than people think. Chiefs play down to competition 1. The Jags play up, and I think it's gonna be just very close because they're free. They have nothing to lose. They're not even supposed to be here. That's a dangerous team. I think it's gonna be a close one. Very close.
You got to give the $90 million man the ball, Christian Kirk. He's been incredible. You got to give him the ball if you want to win. And then the Chiefs, we already know their game plan. It's been the same game plan forever. They're going to do some things in their offense going to throw you off, but Travis Kelce's going to get the ball a lot.
Yep. And Mahomes going to spread it around.
Yeah.
Bengals, Bills. Ooh.
Well, just because what we saw, it's just from what we saw, I feel like it's going to be the Bengals. Just I just thought about it. Bills have too much of a chip on their shoulder to not make that a really close game and pull it out. So I'm doing a quick switcheroo. There's just no way that
it's a tough one.
It's just that one's tough. I'm gonna say
it's
Bills.
It's a coin.
I'm gonna say Bills, heads, tails, Bengals. I'm gonna go heads. I'll say Bills.
I'm gonna go Bills too, but I'm not crazy confident. I'm like you. If the Bengals win, it's not a surprise to anybody. This is a 50-50 game. The fact that it's in Buffalo, I think is going to give them that slight advantage. I don't think Josh is going to throw 3 picks in back-to-back games. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, I gotta go Bills, man. I do. I think they pull it out. I think it's going to be a close one. And the big reason I think it's going to happen is because we're headed to Mercedes-Benz for a neutral site AFC Championship game. That's as pure as it gets. No advantage either team. In a dome. We get Pat versus Josh in a dome. Ooh, fireworks will go. Cowboys, Niners. Who you got, Jack?
Niners.
Thank you.
Niners. Yeah,
Finally, an
Niners.
easy one. Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but I say this now, but at the same time, I was going off quickly when I said Bucks or Cowboys. I said Bucks. So I don't. Again, this is going to be a true testament to what Dak can bring to the table and what kind of what kind of team the Cowboys want to be. Are they going to be the team that lost against the Washington Commanders in the last week of the regular season?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be the team that beat the Eagles earlier in the season and won last night? So I want to see, but I still think that West Coast offense is just incredible and way too much talent and trickery for those Cowboys. So I'm going to say 49ers.
Yeah, I think their defensive line is going to be able to get after Dak. He's not going to have those clean throws like he did. And it's very hard to run against them. They have Fred Warner. I think they have the best linebacker tandem, arguably in the league. Them and the Ravens have the best line. And Greenlaw and Fred Warner. I mean, they're just fantastic. They're great up front. Nick Bosa is phenomenal. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And you have the best left tackle in the game. So Micah Parsons will not line up on that side like he just did with the Bucks. He'll line up on the other side because that's a better matchup. He wants no smoke with Trent Williams. He will dominate Micah Parsons. I think it's close in the first half. 49ers pull away in the second. I think that's kind of similar to the Seahawks. I left this one for last on purpose, Jack.
No, I'm not going to make a prediction.
You do it. Giants, Eagles.
I just said earlier I'm not going to make a prediction.
Put your flag in the freaking ground, Jack. Who's winning? Who's winning? Come on.
Let's go G-Man. You know what, man?
Yes!
Let's go G-Man, huh?
Damn right, Jack. That's what I wanted.
I don't care what I said earlier. I don't care. Let's go G-Man. I had to contain myself because obviously I was watching at work. Let's go G-Man. Who cares? I don't care. I'm all day ball. Who cares?
I love it. I got the Eagles. It's a close one, though. It's going to be a close one. Would I be entirely shocked if y'all won? No. I don't think y'all will. Wouldn't be shocked. Oh, man. I think it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. Hard to play a team 3 times. Things are leaning in your favor in that aspect. It's going to be close, but I think Daniel Jones, after a performance against a trash defense, comes back down to earth a little bit. And I think that's why the Eagles win. But again, it's going to be a close one. Dak, time to put a bow in this thing. Hit it.
It's time for Hit the Showers on the Locker Room Podcast.
It's time to hit these showers, man.
Yeah, it's time to hit the showers.
What are we leaving these people with?
What you got? All right, well, just put on the jersey real quick. Happy birthday to my GOAT. I'm not saying he's greatest of all time, but he's my guy, Dwayne Wade. It's his birthday. He's the Flash. Flash is my favorite superhero. Dwayne Wade, my favorite basketball player of all time, 22 points. Career average. That's my guy. Happy birthday to Dwayne Wade. Made me love the game of basketball. Made me love the Heat. So, I love it. Part 2, I got myself a pair of Luka ones.
Oh, let me see. Those are fire.
Little fire, Luka ones. Got to get ready for some intramural basketball. Going to play 5 minutes a game, but we're going to look fresh doing it.
You got your team? You got your team all locked up for intramural?
We got a team. But yeah, they needed a shooter. So they asked somebody else to do it. They asked somebody else to do it.
Yeah. So then how'd they get to you? That was going to be my question.
Yeah, they were just like, we just need you to stay in the corner.
I'm considering playing. I've gotten a couple invites. We'll see. Maybe not. I am a little bit washed. Keeping the basketball move going on, hit the showers. Jason Tatum. He's now the all-time leader in franchise history of 50-point games, passing Larry Legend this young and this early. He's just been phenomenal this year. And Luka will probably win MVP. But Giannis is making a good case. I think this is as wide open as MVP has been. Giannis, Jokic, Luka, Jason Tatum. I think they're all, however you want to rank them, they're in there. And I think this is going to be a very tough year to win MVP. I don't think there's a clear cut, just to be honest. But I think him having Jaylen Brown on his team is what's not going to allow him to win the MVP this year. But he's been phenomenal. Love my Celtics, #1 team in the East. I think we're headed to the right place, but might hit the showers. Jason, Mofo, Tatum, and I got a jersey coming soon. I'll be wearing it.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to a game this year, Jack. I will call off. I'm going to a playoff game. I'm going. We're going to the Garden.
Right. Love it, man. No, you can't say the Garden because that's MSG.
My fault. The Boston Garden.
All right.
Apologies.
TD
MSG,
Garden. He's going
TD
to Boston.
Garden. My bad. Boston Garden. Because yeah, you're right. It is the Garden is in New York. You're right. You're right. Hey, hopefully this weekend's matchups are as great as last weekend's matchups because we'll have another NFL recap live show. Let's do it, Jack. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music. Watch us on YouTube. Do whatever you got to do. Just watch it.
Yeah, you gotta watch us because you won't get Sam's ugly mug anywhere else.
Yeah, you won't get Jack's horrendous basketball skills anywhere else. You just won't.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, anyone, just don't pick up a basketball. Stay safe out there.